Good evening and welcome to the celebration of 20 years of friendship between the city of Port Phillip and the people of Suai and Covalima. My name is Megs Alston and I'm the chair of the Friends of Suai Covalima in the city of Port Phillip. I'd like to start to respectfully acknowledge the Yalukut Willem clan of the Boonwurrung. I pay my respects to their elders, both past and present, and I acknowledge and uphold their continuing relationship to this land. Welcome to everyone watching this event online. I know there are about 70 people who are joining us, and I know some of you are gathered in small groups, so I hope you enjoy the celebration. You can use the chat function to comment, so please feel free to add comments throughout the webinar. We're very pleased to have the Mayor of the City of Port Phillip with us to officially launch our 20th anniversary booklet tonight, along with a group of other people who are closely connected with Friends of Suai, Covalima and with Timor-Leste. Julian Hill, MP, the federal member for Bruce and former mayor of the city of Port Phillip. Alberto Barros, director of the Covalima Community Centre. Mr. Peter McMullen, the honorary consul for Timor-Leste in Victoria. And the ambassador for Timor-Leste, Her Excellency Ms. Ines Maria da Almeida. Welcome to you all. We had planned several different ways to celebrate this significant milestone of 20 years of friendship this year. But sadly, COVID-19 appeared and many of those plans had to be cancelled or postponed, both here and over in Suai. We really hope that the exhibition we planned to hold in April will take place at the Town Hall Gallery early next year. But we have managed to produce this very attractive record of our friendship, its many activities and aspects and achievements. Our friendship is unique and has been an extraordinary success. We produced a booklet in 2010 marking 10 years of the friendship, and I think this lives up to its standard. We'll be showing a selection of photos from the booklet during the launch. Before I introduce the Mayor, a few words of thanks are due. Thank you to the coordinator of Friends of Suai, Carleen Harlock, and her predecessor in the role, Pat Jessen, for their outstanding contribution over the years, but in particular tonight, for the wonderful job they have done in producing this booklet, writing the words and selecting photos from a vast library. Thank you also to Anne Wigglesworth, who has written a longer book documenting the friendship, which will be launched soon, because much of the material in this booklet draws on Anne's research and interviews, especially the contributions to her book from Friends of Suai Covalima members. Thanks to all of them too. To our council in Port Phillip, which has been such a steadfast friend to Suai and Covalima, and the many councillors who've supported and deepened the effort over 20 years. Thank you. And you should be very proud, as these achievements would not be possible without your support. I know there are several councillors joining us tonight, so I give a special welcome to them. Thanks to Jen Hughes and Kate McCarthy-Fakai, who've produced a short documentary film of the friendship to be released soon, and video spotlights which are appearing now on our Facebook page, along with posts from members describing what the friendship means to them. I encourage you to have a look. And lastly, I thank all the donors, the supporters, the volunteers, and former volunteer members of Friends of Suai Covalima, including my predecessor as chair, Bill Armstrong, for their work over many years. It's a pleasure now to introduce Councillor Bernadine Vos, the Mayor of the City of Port Phillip, to launch our booklet. Councillor Vos has been a great supporter and has spoken warmly about our work in several council meetings. Thank you, Councillor Vos.
Thank you very much, Megs. I'd like to say that the City of Port Phillip respectfully acknowledges the Yalukit Willem clan of the Boonwurrung. We pay our respects to their elders, both past and present, and we acknowledge and uphold their traditional relationship to this land. A couple of acknowledgements I'd like to make as well. Friends of Suai, Covalima, Community Reference Committee, current and past members and volunteers. Of course, Alberto Barros, Commissioner, members and staff of the Covalima Community Centre in Suai, Timor-Leste. I'd like to also call out my friend Julian Hill, MP, Federal Member for Bruce and former Mayor of the City of Port Phillip, and Peter McMillan as well, Honorary Consul of Timor-Leste. And of course, my fellow councillors, Deputy Mayor Tim Baxter, Andrew Bond, David Brand, Catherine Copsey, Louise Crawford, Dick Ross, Marcus Pearl and Oggie Simic. And welcome to you. Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining me online for the Friends of Suai Covalima 20th Anniversary Book Launch. We first formed a partnership with Suai and later the Covalima district in Timor-Leste all those years ago, following widespread violence as East Timor voted to become independent from Indonesia. One of the more harrowing events was the Suai Church massacre, the 20th anniversary of which we commemorated last year and was deeply impactful. In 2000, with the support of our community, Council made a formal commitment to the ongoing rebuilding of infrastructure and support of the Timorese people. While our friendship with Suai and Covalima was born out of terrible circumstances, over the last 20 years, our friendship has developed into a true partnership. This booklet celebrates the many achievements of our partnership with Suai Covalima and tells the stories which makes me so proud. Friends of Suai Covalima has had a remarkable impact over the past 20 years, with support ranging from construction of key buildings to training in public administration, leadership and teaching. The Covalima Community Centre, supported by the City of Port Phillip, is an invaluable resource for community development and local skill training in the district of Covalima, connecting people to livelihood programs and educational opportunities. In 2019, we established the One Seed, with One Seed, a community carbon forestry program, and a nursery was built to grow mahogany and sandalwood seedlings to be planted and distributed to local farmers in 2020. And of course, in more recent times, Friends of Suai Covalima and the CCC have worked together to prepare the Covalima district for COVID-19 global pandemic. And I'd be very interested to find out how the community has coped with this pandemic. The Covalima Community Centre has worked hard to share clear and simple information with communities on hand washing and hygienic practices, with staff visiting remote communities to share information in local dialects. Friends of Suai Covalima has had continual support from Council for 20 years, and we're proud of the strong bonds which have been formed between our two communities. So I wanted to say congratulations to everyone involved in this wonderful, unique and enduring partnership which has developed over the last 20 years. I wanted to say congratulations on the launch of this amazing booklet. And I also want to say that I come after a very long line of I think, very proud councillors that have supported this amazing initiative, Suai Covalima Partnership. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Voss, for those words and for your continuing support for the program. And as you say, it is unique and it's been such a success. We're going to show a few photos from the book during the night, and we might just, I think we're going to show a few now, just to give some illustration of the sort of work, some of the programs and some of the cultural exchanges that have taken place over the years. This couple now has solar lighting in their home, which has made a big difference. And you can see the lady of the household turning on the light. Makes a big difference to them. Here are some of the scholarship holders. Since 2006, more than 160 people have been awarded, young people have been awarded with scholarships in a range of vocational educational areas. Quite a few nurses, actually. This is the With One Seed program that the Mayor referred to earlier. These are some of the seedlings in the nursery and farmers being trained and training in how to look after trees that have been planted out. And here is a group of counsellors with Alberto from the community centre on one of his visits here. So thanks very much again, Councillor Voss. Alberto Barros is joining us from Suai tonight. Many of you know Alberto well from your visits to Suai and his visits here. Welcome, Alberto. It's great to see you again. And I can see that you have some of the staff from the community centre there with you too. Many familiar faces. Hi to you all. Congratulations to you, to previous and current staff of the community centre and your community for the wonderful gains that you have achieved. And we hope that you'll find that this book records some of them. So Alberto, I invite you to talk about the friendship between our two communities, what it has meant to you and to your community in Covalima. Alberto, you might have your microphone on mute, maybe. I think that there's, sorry about the small problem here because we were talking earlier. Don't know what's happened with the microphone on, but maybe if you can't unmute it. Hi, everybody. I think there's just a technical problem with the microphone. I'm not sure what it is because I know that we could hear you earlier, Alberto. I will ask our moderator behind the scenes to see if she can sort this out. But in the meantime,
perhaps we can maybe, hello everyone, it's Carleen speaking. Megs, perhaps we will maybe try again in a moment and move to the next speaker.
Okay, good idea. So instead, I'm going to move on to our next speaker, Julian Hill. But before we do, I just wanted to talk very briefly about what happened in 1999 after the emergency in Timor-Leste occurred. The city of Port Phillip was approached to form a friendship, as the Mayor mentioned earlier, with the coastal town of Suai in the southwest of Timor-Leste. Anne Dunn, who was then City of Port Phillip CEO, readily agreed to put this forward. And I think you are joining us tonight, so welcome to you too. And the council quickly adopted the idea with a formal agreement signed between the City of Port Phillip and Janana Guzmao, who was then the CNRT president, on the 4th of May 2000. Julian Hill was the Mayor of the City of Port Phillip. And there's a photo obviously there of him signing the agreement with Janana, with Abel Gutierrez in the background. Abel, Janana and Anne Dunn, and also the monument in Suai to the Suai massacre that the Mayor mentioned earlier. A very significant event that occurred there. I think it's okay to say that Julian was the youngest councillor ever elected to the City of Port Phillip and the youngest mayor of the City of Port Phillip. I think he still holds that record. So it's fantastic to have you with us tonight, Julian. Can you take us back to that time, to that context, and tell us about the council's response?
Is that working?
Yep, you're on.
Excellent. Thanks, Megs, and hello, everyone. I won't repeat the acknowledgements made, but it's great to be here 20 years on and quite hard to believe. But it's wonderful to see the Friends of Suai Covalima initiative has stood the test of time and to be reconnected with everyone in this very strange time for the country and the world. But Council back in 2000, as Megs said, was very proud to be, I think, the first to formally sign a friendship agreement. And it's funny as the years pass for me and for people I know who are on council. We've got Dick and David have had a resurrection, so it's great to see you back there from that time now. But it's funny as those years pass what you remember most, but this was certainly one of the very big ones for me and the councillors then, and a very treasured memory. But the context in which we entered the agreement was multi-layered. At the national level, the shocking scenes, as the Mayor alluded to or touched upon, regarding the Indonesian withdrawal and the violence, shocked, I think, all Australians who tuned in, and it was a big national issue. People with a sense of history were mindful of the historical debt which Australia owed the East Timorese for supporting our soldiers during World War II and saving many Australian lives. But in that national context, I think it was only natural that Victoria and Melbourne emerged as the most supportive state government, where I think the majority of these friendships were formed. Melbourne for many decades had been the home of the East Timorese resistance, and there was very deep community connections across the city with the East Timorese people, or the people of Timor-Leste as they're now known. And then at a local level, we were then, I think, known as one of Melbourne's ratbag councils, and there were many local activists who were pushing on an open door, if you like, in a very receptive, progressive council. But the signing, I'll just briefly tell the story of the signing. The day that Janana visited the St Kilda Town Hall, the friendship had been discussed and broadly agreed to by the council, but the final step of the signing was hysterically last minute. I was buzzing away at the desk, happened to be at the town hall, and I got a phone call and someone said, oh, I think it was a bell got put through, and they said, oh, Janana Gusmaus, not far away, and he thought he might visit now, is that okay? And after just about falling off my chair, I had to take the very brave step, and I know Anne's on the line and we'll have a laugh, of doing the thing that we were never to do, which was have the bloody councillors interrupt Anne's weekly management team meeting, the sacred 3 hours when she locked herself away. But so I bravely knocked on the door and I got the look and I said, I think this is important. Janana Gusmaus coming to visit in half an hour. And she said, yep, that qualifies as a crisis, and off we went. But it was a magical moment when Janana turned up to the town hall, asked us for our help, and we confirmed the signing of the friendship agreement. I'll pay tribute to three particular people, just to single three out, for their passion, their work, and for forming the model, which was the CEO, Anne Dunn, Bill Armstrong AO, a very dear old friend who was the chair for many years, as you know, before you, Megs, and also to Pat Jessen, who was for 14 years the coordinator before Carleen came on board. The friendship, I think one of the reasons it stood the test of time was it was founded on true community development principles, not aid per se. It's a true friendship, as the wonderful 20-year achievement book shows. It's slower at times to use community development principles, but it's always community driven and always community led. And Anne Dunn and I were privileged to visit Suai, Covalima, and also, of course, Timor-Leste and Dili in 2001. It was an amazing time at the 12-month anniversary of the Indonesian withdrawal, and just incredibly emotional to talk with people about their experiences and their families' experiences. So the final couple of things I just do want to add, looking ahead, I think it's really important that as we mark this 20-year anniversary, we continue to look to the future. And it's great to hear, Bernadine, you reaffirm Council's commitment across all councillors and all parts of the political spectrum. It's the right thing to do. It honours the investment made by the community and the relationships built up over 2 decades. It's served as a model, I think, for Australia in terms of how to do local community-to-community partnerships. And the final thing I'd just note, I believe from my new role as an MP in the Australian Parliament, that continuing this friendship is in the national interest of Australia, and I hope also Timor-Leste, that the people of Timor-Leste see that as well. Timor-Leste has made incredible progress since independence, but of course there's many development and governance challenges that remain. 4 in 10 Timorese still live below the national poverty line. There's challenges, as we share, in the private sector economy exacerbated by COVID. And there's the ongoing task of improving community outcomes for the people with Timor-Leste. But from Australia's perspective, I think it would be difficult to overstate how important it is for Australia to maintain warm and trusted relationships with our neighbours and friends in Timor-Leste, especially, but not only, as the strategic situation changes so rapidly. And the historic bonds of friendship and these links, though, cannot be taken for granted. Like all relationships, they have to be invested in, nurtured and renewed. And of course, we in Australia have some trust deficit to overcome from some shameful behaviour some years ago by a former government, which I know weighs on many people's consciences in terms of our mutual relationship. And Australian and Timor-Leste governments, diplomats and businesses can only do so much. And so in that context, as we look to the future, this sort of community-to-community relationship and the people-to-people links formed through this friendship are essential to our shared future. So I'm very proud to have been involved in the council many years ago now that started this partnership. It is so wonderful to see it's continued to stand the test of time and to read the achievements book. And I wish everyone involved in the coming years all the best, and hope to be here to celebrate the 40th anniversary in 20 years hence. So thank you so much, Megs, to you for your work, and everyone else for their work. I'm just having a look at messages flash up, and I'll shut up now, and hopefully we can hear from our friends in Covalima. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Julian, for all those words. I'm glad we had a rat bag council at the time that was willing to sign and get on board so quickly. I think we should try now to see if we can go back to Alberto in Suai, and let's see if his mic is working now. Alberto, how's it? Are you able to speak now to us? We'd love to hear from you. And hi again to all the friends there over in the background.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alberto.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to say sorry because of the technical problems. Yes, the friendship means to me and the community in Covalima is supports Timor-Leste democracy by building community engagement and community development through support local owned skills, employment and development. The city of Port Phillip built the foundation first in 2000, then it started to grow. It is a unique. We trust each other. I feel like part of Friends of Suai because they ask our opinions and we make decisions together. We have freedom to make mistakes and learn from them together. The more capacity building opportunities from Friends of Suai Covalima to reinforce the local skills and knowledge of staff, commission members, and community to improve the better life in Covalima. This makes me staying at CCC until now, and I took all the lessons learned into the management of CCC's programs, activities, and staff, including the network in international, regional, and national levels. And currently, as we know that the COVID-19 is a global problem in the world. Therefore, we also respond with the collaboration with district administration, where the COVID-19 was a panic situation because massive killing by invisible enemy globally, which was affecting to Timor-Leste, included Suai Covalima. To respond to this extreme panic, Covalima Community Center staff have initiated to take actions on the prevention and mitigation due to Suai Covalima is directly border to West Timor, Indonesia. Most concern was people have direct cultural link that make easy to transmit through visit each other legally and illegally. Then without informing, the district administrator of Covalima recommended Covalima Community Center to involve in the task force for COVID-19 prevention in Covalima. So, Covalima Community Center staff involved on the pillar 2 for prevention, which is established by the Ministry of Health of Timor-Leste and the World Health Organization. Then we coordinated with Friend of Suai, Covalima to support, and we also coordinated with Oxfam and International Women's Development Agency in Melbourne. Those partners have quick response. With the support from these partners, Covalima Community Center did actions for prevention in 130 sub-villages in the 25 villages of 30 villages in Covalima district. The main activities we did for the prevention were dissemination or explain, train of trainer, practice, and donation, as well as disinfectant in public places such as school, chairs, and community center in rural areas along the border side. So the relationship between district administration and Covalima Community Center now is stronger than ever. Both parts in Covalima Community Center and district administration, they have strong relationship and work together to support the activities of Covalima Community Center. So last but not least, thank you to all of our friends in Australia. We are hoping that we can continue this friendship for a very long time, to continue this unique friendship, to continue the brilliant activities and programs during past 20 years for next long period. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alberto, for those words. And it's great to hear about the work you've been doing on the COVID-19 response. We've got some slides showing some of those activities a bit later on, but I'm now going to hand over to Mr. Peter McMullen, the Consul for Timor-Leste in Victoria. I'm delighted that you're able to join us tonight, Peter, and also that we also have with you Her Excellency Ms. Ines de Almeida, who's the Timor-Leste Ambassador to Australia, who's joining us from Canberra too. First of all, Peter's a businessman, philanthropist and lawyer with a deep-seated involvement in community affairs. He has a long engagement with Timor-Leste and has supported many initiatives there. Your Excellency, I'm very pleased that you've been able to join us tonight, because your predecessor in the role, Abel Gutierrez, was the one who in 1999 approached the Port Phillip Council, as Julian and the Mayor had mentioned, to suggest this friendship agreement. So it's very appropriate that you're here tonight to celebrate the 20 years. If I'd like to ask you to perhaps both say a few words about the friendship movements and what you think they do for our communities, both here and in Timor-Leste. Thank you, Peter, and your Excellency.
Well, look, thank you, Megs, and it's a great delight to be here, and I look forward to, in a moment, introducing Inez Almeida, who is our new ambassador. But can I just start off by acknowledging the Wathaurong, which is where I am coming from, and the people of the Kulin Nation, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. And I also want to acknowledge Megs, of course, and Bernadine Voss, Inez herself, Alberto, wonderful to hear from you, Alberto, Julian Hill, Federal MP, great to see you again, and all the councillors, wonderful to have you here, and everybody else who's joining us this evening. Port Phillip Covalima friendship relationship is one of the great shining examples of success between Victoria, Australia and Timor-Leste, in my opinion. Many friendship groups are doing some wonderful things across Victoria and have maintained that relationship over many, many years. And they have been visiting, attending, supporting, encouraging, and Suai and Covalima is no exception. And I really take my hat off on behalf of the Timorese community here in Victoria, that really it is a wonderful thing that you have done. And I hope that you're able to continue it, because it is something that is valued immensely. And I've seen it with my own eyes, just how strongly valued these relationships of the friendship groups between Australia and Timor. And I'll pick up Julian Hill's comments that the relationship between the state and the country and Timor is so important. And these community relationships are at the centre of these of the important regard that Timor has for Australia, despite some of the issues that Julian alluded to. But look, we are thrilled to be here tonight. It's great to have so many people on the line, and it's my really great pleasure to introduce the new ambassador to Australia, Inez Almeida, who she and I have been working together now for a few months in the most unusual circumstances. Normally I'd be hosting a function here in Melbourne to welcome her to everyone. And we've been having a series of online introductions and meetings with the Timorese community and others. And in fact, Inez and I were in Mildura recently talking to the seasonal workers up there. And you know, there's a lot goes on in the relationship between the consulate here in Victoria and the embassy. And it's been a great pleasure to work with Inez, and I would like to introduce her and welcome her to Victoria formally again. And thank you all for being here tonight, and congratulations on the really profoundly significant work that you've all done for Timor and for the friendship, the relationship between Suai and Covalima. Over to you, Inez. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the traditional elders of this land, past, present and emerging. Councillors, committee members, thank you very much for inviting me to participate in this event that is so significantly. Of course, without your dedication over the past 20 years, I think Covalima wouldn't be really where it is now, the community. So by saying that, I think that our friendship groups are such an important part of Timor-Leste's relationship with Australia. The people to people, as we've heard it tonight, links are what make the relationship so strong. So for me, it is an honor to bear witness to the great work that the Friends of Suai Covalima has been undertaking in Timor-Leste, assisting in our development in the areas of health, education, and in particularly empowering women. Hopefully those women can one day be leaders of our nation. And also I was really interested in listening to what you're planning to do as well with the soon to be the reforestation in Suai Covalima. And this is something that I would like to also see other friendship groups doing the same thing as well. I heard that Mornington Peninsula is also doing something similar in Los Palos, so I think it's very important that we can also look into those areas. So as an ambassador, I would like to say that I look forward to see the friendship network grow and continue to flourish, and looking into how the embassy can be more involved in your future work. So congratulations to everyone, and hopefully we can continue with this great work for many more years to come. And it's really for the benefit of the people of East Timor, the most needy one. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador and Peter, for your kind words and warm words. And we too hope that we can continue, and that the new With One Seed program, Ambassador, that's we're very excited about that too. We're hoping to see it move from strength to strength in the coming years. So we haven't got much more to say, but we're going to show you a few slides to finish with. Limited copies of the booklet will be available for borrowing at the Port Phillip libraries very soon. We've also got it in as an ebook, and a Tetum version is at the printers as we speak. So thank you all very much again for joining us tonight. And we'd like to end by showing those slides, as I said, of some of the achievements and the people who've helped to make it happen. That's it. So thank you and good night. We'll just show these slides. The first one is showing you the water program that we initiated at the school, at the senior secondary school. It's made a huge difference to the students and also to the local community who have access to water too. We've also got some shots of the COVID response, that the COVID-19 response. The CCC staff were involved in providing health information about coronavirus, delivering soap to the villages, and demonstrating the importance of hand washing. So that's fantastic that they're invited to do that by the local district administration office. So well done, all of you. I can see a few familiar faces there. Here are some of our dedicated volunteers who work hard both here and in Suai, and have formed terrific friendships with friends in Covalima through their work. This is our local Friends of Suai committee here in Port Phillip. Thank you, all of you guys, and for all the work that you do. And our Councillor Baxter on the left front, he's the council representative on our committee. It's great to have you there, Tim. And lastly, we have a shot of all the staff, the volunteers and commission members from the community centre at Covalima, who do such great work in Covalima and make it all happen. So again, thank you all for joining us. That's it. And good evening to you all.